Look, everybody knows that Joe Rogan has the biggest podcast in the world, yet nobody understands exactly why his podcast exploded. And more importantly, why your podcast hasn't exploded yet. And I'm gonna tell you the real reason in the most simple way possible. Joe Rogan's podcast didn't blow up just because he's Joe Rogan. It blew up because he's doing it longer, more consistently, and more seriously than anybody on the planet. And that is what every single podcaster is ignoring. Most people don't realize this. Joe Rogan's first podcast episode, I'm looking at it right now, December 24th, 2009. It's been over 15 years of him doing podcasting. How long have you been doing podcasting? He didn't blow up overnight. He didn't go viral every single week. He didn't have the perfect gear for the perfect episodes. He just kept showing up in the game long enough for the game to catch up to him. The truth is, podcasting became big years after Joe Rogan had already been doing it. By the time the industry exploded, Joe Rogan was a podcasting legend. Not because he's famous, not because he's controversial, but because he's early, consistent, and committed. He didn't treat his podcast like a side hobby. He took it as a serious job. He treated his podcast like it mattered, and that's what made him number one and still continues to make him number one. And this is something that I've seen with Impulsive firsthand, okay? I've been with Impulsive for 6 years. When we first started, 7 years ago, I believe, is when they were doing 3 episodes a week. Logan was doing 3 episodes a week, okay? And then it went down to 2, and now we're at 1. But at the start, he was going hard and maintaining consistency doing that. Then you even want to transition into Modern Wisdom. That podcast has been blowing up as of recently. Guess what he still does, I believe to this day, 3 episodes a week? This dude's on a crazy grind. You look at Diary of a CEO on a whole nother end of the spectrum. That is doing 2 episodes per week at a very high quality clip. So you have to maintain consistency, especially at the very start. And you have to go hard with your consistency if you expect yourself to actually grow. Keep in the mind of a professional podcaster. You need to be in the mindset of, I am a professional podcaster. Consistency builds trust, consistency builds relevancy, and then consistency rewards you in the way of the algorithm being in your favor. Now, if you want your podcast to actually grow, I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions. Question number 1 is, do I want to be a podcast professional? Think about it. If you're only gonna take it as a hobby, you're only going to ever be able to use it as a hobby. You're only gonna be able to get guests who look at other podcasts as a hobby. If you start taking it serious, then more guests are gonna wanna come on, your growth is gonna be a lot better, and your mentality to make it your full-time thing is gonna be in full effect. Second question is going to be, will I commit to 1 long-form episode every single week for a year? You have to be willing to be able to make that commitment. 52 weeks, once a week, every single Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, every single week. You have to be willing to commit to that. And then at that point, once you have that all settled, commit to making 7 short form pieces of content per week. If you don't have the time to do that, delegate it out to another editor. But you need to find the time to make those short clips so they can go over to your long form episode as well. And listen, if you really are in the fence at trying to take your podcast seriously and you're really just getting frustrated with not being able to grow, it's quite literally why I created my podcast community. It's for people who want to start their podcast, take it to that next level, learn how to create better clips, learn how to create better thumbnails, connect with other like-minded people. There's so many people, like Grant just started his podcast and he's already doing like crazy things with his podcast. And it's just a matter of time before his podcast blows up as long as he stays consistent. So much of podcasting is having people hold you accountable. If you want to have people that hold you accountable, like me and other people, you should join this community or at least check it out for a little bit. I literally teach you everything that I've learned from Impulsive over the last 6 years. In addition to that, I hop on weekly coaching calls with so many people. We usually get at least 10 people within that call. A lot of the times those people are connecting with other people. They bring up questions that I haven't even thought about, and it's just like a great riffing session. A lot of time we end up going for longer than an hour a week, an hour and a half a lot of the time, hour 45, whatever it is. Trust me, it's gonna be well worth all the money. I have free stuff in there too, like TikTok safe area template, trending song instrumentals, 60+ sound effects, whatever. Check it all out. I have the first link in the description. Trust me, it's 1000% worth it. And finally, one thing that I just really want to hammer down is that Joe Rogan didn't get lucky. He was consistent. And if you follow that same path of consistency, maintaining a mindset that is going to get you to understand that you are a podcast professional and surrounding yourself with the right people who can hold you accountable, it's just a matter of time before your podcast blows up.